never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. Wait, I think I'll last a bit longer. Find another.
Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. It is a Thursday, and I bring that up because I know a lot of people get Memorial Day Monday off. And if you're one of those people that do, all you have is today and tomorrow, and then you have a 3-day weekend. So congratulations to all of you that have a 3-day weekend coming up. And I know this really amazing, awesome, good-looking, handsome, intelligent man that has a birthday coming up exactly 5 weeks from today. So happy birthday to that amazing, awesome, good-looking, handsome, intelligent person that has a birthday coming up 5 weeks from today. What collegiate team has changed their nickname? I'll tell you coming up here in a few minutes. But first, let's talk about the Braves. The Braves win last night to avoid getting swept by the Dodgers. They're currently sitting with a record of 30 wins and 19 losses. They have a 5.5 game lead in the National League East, kicking off a 4-game series with the Philadelphia Phillies tonight. The Braves right now are taking care of business against bad teams, but they have a losing record against good teams. So they definitely need to turn that around, because if you win the division and make the playoffs, you're not going to be playing bad teams. But they have struggled against the good teams. Max Fried still out hurt. Kyle Wright still out hurt. They're both out for at least 2 months. So right now you pretty much have Charlie Morton carrying the rotation. As far as from an experience standpoint, I know that Spencer Strider is their best starter right now, but it's his first full season in the rotation because he didn't start all last year, just some of last year. So it's Strider's first full year as a starter. So you have Charlie Morton carrying the rotation right now from a veteran standpoint, but the rotation hasn't been bad. What's been bad lately is the bullpen. Going into the season, I thought the bullpen was going to be their one weakness, and they started out pretty good, but the past couple of weeks, their bullpen has been pretty dadgum bad. But I still say the Braves win the division. But Michael Harris Jr. finally got him a hit last night, but he's only hitting like 170. He's not hitting at all. The good news is right now they don't miss it, because when Kevin Pillar plays, he's been productive. When Eddie Rosario plays, he's been pretty productive. And now Marcell Ozuna is finally hitting the ball. He got his 9th home run of the season last night. He's on pace for 25 home runs, which ain't bad for a guy that hit below 100 in the month of April. But again, the Braves kick off a 4-game series with the Phillies tonight. NBA Finals starts exactly 1 week from tonight. Next Thursday night, it'll be the Denver Nuggets against either the Celtics or the Heat. Either way, I'm pulling for the Denver Nuggets because they have never won an NBA championship. This is actually their first time ever playing in the NBA Finals, so they obviously have never won one. So I am pulling for them. Nikola Jokic, to me, is the best player on the planet right now, and it's not close. He's fun to watch play because he can only jump about 2 inches. He has no leaping ability at all, and he looks like the most unathletic person you've ever seen. But yet he averages just about a triple-double, which is absolutely amazing. Will LeBron James retire? That's kind of the talk right now. It's kind of hard to say because we know by now that LeBron James, since he's been in the spotlight over 20 years ago at the age of 17, he makes a big deal out of everything. He makes a big deal out of going grocery shopping because he loves being in the spotlight. So he's going to make this last as long as he can because LeBron James loves himself some LeBron James. But I don't think he's going to retire. But if he does, you can't blame him because we know he's only playing to win championships. And if you look at the Lakers roster, they're just not good enough to win a championship. And they don't really have a lot of guys that they can trade. So I don't really see any way they get better. So if you know you're not going to win a championship and you're stuck with the Lakers, you should retire. But LeBron has always said he wants to play with his son. Now, of course, his son is going to USC, but he's only going for 1 year. So more than likely in 2024, his son will be in the NBA. So LeBron could stick it out 1 more year without him. But LeBron also never said that he wouldn't retire and come back. He just says it's his dream to play with his son. So I could see LeBron maybe retiring for 3 years, staying in shape, and then letting his son get in the league and see how good he is and see what team drafts him. And then you come out of retirement and sign with that team for 1 more year at the age of 41 or 42 and then retire for good. That is a possibility, but I personally don't think LeBron is going to retire. I just think LeBron is trying to get the attention on LeBron because he always finds a way to do that. Now, there's also a lot of talk about 7 teams in the ACC leaving to either go to the Big Ten or the SEC. And those 7 teams, I believe, are Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, NC State, Miami, Virginia, and Virginia Tech. Those, I believe, are the 7 teams. Clemson and Florida State's kind of a package deal. Honestly, really, truly, Florida State wants to leave the ACC. I don't think Clemson does, but I think Clemson knows that if Florida State leaves the conference ain't going to stand and make it with just 1 team. So I think Clemson's kind of saying, you know what, if the Noles leave, we're going with them, but I don't think they really want to leave. North Carolina, NC State's kind of a package deal as well because, you know, they're rivals in every sport and they want to continue to be rivals. The only way you're going to do that is to play in the same conference. If one team stays in the ACC, they might play once every 10, 12 years, but that's about it. Same way with Virginia and Virginia Tech. They want to continue their rivalry, so in order to do that, you have to play in the same conference. And then Miami's just being Miami, no real reason why they want to leave. But what we're slowly seeing happen is the game of college football is dying, which I've been saying for 2 years, that if we saw the conferences expand and the playoffs expand, we would see the death of college football, and that's what we're seeing. Within 10 years, if college football is still around, it's not going to be the college football that we all know and love. What we're slowly seeing is college football is going to become two conferences, the Big Ten and the SEC. The Big Ten is going to be like the AFC in the NFL, and the SEC is going to be like the NFC in the NFL. And those two conferences are going to have probably about 25 teams in them, and only those teams will compete for a national championship, and that's it. So if you're all about expansion, you should be happy. If you want college football to be the game that you grew up to know and love, you can forget it, because once we started seeing the expansion happen and the players start to get paid, that died. It's over with. It ain't coming back. Give it up. It ain't happening. But if Clemson does leave the ACC, I personally would much rather see them go to the Big Ten, only because I would like to, on occasion, take a weekend off from a wrestling show and go on a road trip. And I would like to see them play different teams, because outside of course, playing Ohio State in the playoffs a couple of times, and then they played Nebraska in a bowl game back around 2009, I believe. They don't play the teams in the Big Ten, whereas in the SEC, they play South Carolina every year. They've played Georgia 4 times in the last 10 years. They've played Auburn, I think, 3 times in the last 15 years. They've played Tennessee 2 times in bowl games. They've played LSU 2 times, not to mention playing Bama 4 years in the playoffs. So I don't want to go to a conference where I'm going to see Clemson play teams they pretty much play on at least a semi-regular basis. I want to see them go to the Big Ten, where if I get a chance to go on a road trip, I can go to Iowa or Penn State or Piscataway, New Jersey, somewhere different. That's just my personal opinion. In the world of NASCAR, Kyle Larson won the All-Star race this past weekend, followed by Darrell Wallace Jr., Tyler Reddick, Chase Briscoe, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Daniel Suarez, Eric Jones, Ty Gibbs, and Joey Logano rounded out the top 10. This is a huge weekend in motorsports, because we have the Formula One race coming up Sunday morning, and then we have the 107th running of the Indy 500 at noon, and then we have the Coca-Cola 600 Sunday night at 6. So if you're a racing fan, this Sunday is definitely for you. There are a lot of people that don't watch IndyCar racing, but they watch the Indy 500. Kind of like a lot of people don't watch NASCAR, but they watch the Daytona 500. A lot of people don't watch golf, but they watch the Masters. So if you like IndyCar racing at all, more than likely you watch the Indy 500. And the Coke 600 is the longest race of the year in the world of NASCAR. It'll start Sunday night right around 6 o'clock Eastern Time and won't end until about 11:30 Sunday night, depending on how many cautions they have. But in the world of NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series racing tomorrow night, 8:30 on Fox Sports 1's the North Carolina Education Lottery 200. Then on Saturday at 1 o'clock on Fox Sports 1, we have the Xfinity Series Alsco 300, and all that leads up to the Coke 600 on Sunday night. And what team in collegiate sports changed their nickname? That would be George Washington. They have been the Colonials. Starting this fall, they'll become the George Washington Revolutionaries, which might be the longest nickname in collegiate sports. Now, any thoughts on any of this, please feel free to let me know. Homes for Our Troops is a publicly funded 501c nonprofit organization that builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans. Since the 2004 inception, nearly 90 cents of every dollar spent has gone directly to our program services for veterans. Visit at hfotusa.org. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. If a cougar gets old and needs a hearing aid, does she become a deaf leopard? And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon.